Why is it that time and time again we hear about college dropouts becoming the CEO of a company? Or we hear about how somebody was a failure in the traditional schooling system and then they become a millionaire? Why is it that we are seeing that happen time and time again? That is what we're going to be talking about in this video. Now, before I get into that, people have been asking me, what the hell is this timer here underneath my board? It has not been there before. That is the countdown timer because I'm closing my membership group Stock Radar in 3 days and 12 hours. It's going to be closed. So that's the details with that. If you guys want to get in to Stock Radar, my weekly stock analysis membership site, the link is in the description below. But let's go ahead and talk about this more because this is a fascinating topic to me. It's something I think about a lot because I look at all these people running around like crazy. You know, they're working and they're in jobs that they hate and they're very smart people, but they're somehow not smart enough to figure out that they could be working for themselves or doing the same thing they're doing for this person that's hiring them, but doing it for themselves and making a lot of money. And there's 5 main reasons, I think, why you oftentimes see the college dropouts being the CEOs and the bosses, and why you see the straight A students and the college graduates being the employees. The first thing comes down to being booked versus street smart. A lot of people that are good in college and good in high school are book smart. They understand how things work in an ideal situation. They understand that math makes sense on paper, and if you look at perfect scenarios, they understand how all of that works. They understand it when it's a controlled environment. But what they don't understand is that life is not a controlled environment, and that's where you have to be street smart and be able to understand, adapt, and learn very quickly. So there's a big difference there between being book smart versus street smart and understanding the real world versus the ideal situation, because it's never going to be like that ideal situation in actual practice. The second reason ties in with this as well. It's called analysis paralysis. And again, this is because those who are book smart are usually very detail oriented and they become obsessive with something. And there's that old saying that goes out there, something along the lines of the more you know about something, the more you realize you don't know. So what happens is people learn so much about a particular subject, they convince themselves they know nothing. Then they're paralyzed. Then they're not doing a damn thing. Whereas somebody who just learns the basics, they're street smart, they learn as quickly as possible, and then they go, all right, I'm just going to figure out the rest down the road. That is what you need in order to get ahead and maybe start your own business. You're going to see somebody who is book smart being way too detail oriented to the point where they're trying to learn everything, and a lot of the stuff can only be learned through experience, and they're trying to learn it from a book. It's like trying to learn how to ride a bicycle from a book. It doesn't make any fucking sense at the end of the day. But that is how people think. They're very detail oriented and they're trying to learn things all at once that really can't be learned right now, and they convince themselves they don't know anything and then they don't do a damn thing. That is reason number 2. Reason number 3 is that people who are successful, usually the C and D students, are like that because they understand that perfection sucks. In my mind, perfection, it means something is slow. If you're making the perfect YouTube video, for in my case, if I make the perfect YouTube video, like maybe I don't like the fact that I just dropped the F-bomb and I'm going to get somebody in the comments telling me that it was offensive. But you know what? I understand that perfection is useless. Perfection means this is slow. It means I have to take more time doing something, and good enough is all I'm looking for. Good enough is what's going to make you the money. It's what's going to get the bills paid. Good enough will run your business. But people out there that are B and A students and at the top of their class, they're trying to be perfect. They're trying to achieve perfection, and they're spending way too much time on stuff that really doesn't matter. They're caring too much about these details that really don't matter. It's all about how fast you can move in business, you know, and so they're caring about details that nobody should care about, and it's the C and D students or the dropouts that understand that perfection sucks. Number 4 is the dropouts, and the C and D students usually understand how to find an angle with anything they're doing. They try to figure out how to work an angle. I'll use myself as an example. So I used to work a job. I had the traditional 9-to-5 job, and I was in a union, so I understood that I had a pretty safe job. And I looked at everyone around me, and I noticed that everyone around me that acted very smart ended up getting all the extra work because they were very meticulous, they were very good at their work. So I thought about that in my head and I said, okay, if I don't have as much work to do, that means I have more downtime, and that means I can spend more time researching investments or planning YouTube videos or doing things for my business. So I made the decision to purposefully make mistakes with my work and act like an idiot. That way all of the work would flow around me and I would pretty much have nothing to do. I'd be sitting there working on my YouTube channel and studying investments, and everyone else around me was calling me stupid. But really, when you think about it, I don't know. I guess that's up to you. Who was the real idiot in that situation? But that's the thing, is these C and D students understand how to work an angle to their advantage. They see beyond the surface, as I would say. And fifth and finally, it's usually the fact that the C and D students hate the system. They understand that the schooling system is useless. It's like having all these different animals trying to climb a tree. You know, a monkey versus a giraffe climbing a tree. Who's going to win? Everyone out there learns in different ways, and you're tested in one way. And so usually the C and D students are the alternative learners. They learn in different ways, whether it's hands-on or just by experience. And they understand that the system is pretty much useless, and as a result, they're not going to buy into it. They're not going to buy into the 9 to 5 for 45. They're not going to buy into the keeping up with the Joneses. They want to be as different as possible, and that is what causes them to do different things than most people are doing. But anyways, guys, that is what I think. That is why I think you see the A students working for the D students, or you see the college dropouts starting companies and becoming rich. I'm not telling you to drop out of school. Your best option, yes, stay in school. Okay, it's probably 0.001% of dropouts that end up being CEOs, but it's a story you hear quite frequently. If you guys enjoyed this video, please drop a like. If you think this is worth sharing, I would certainly appreciate that if you shared it with some of your friends. And if you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing to be notified of any future uploads. And as always, I thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you are interested in learning more about investing in the stock market, I've created a free course just for you. The link is in the description below. Here are a few other videos you might enjoy as well.